Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving deep, pun intended, into one of the most important books for anyone who wants to do meaningful work in our distracted world. Deep Work by Cal Newport. Imagine this. You sit down to work on something important. Imagine this. Maybe it's writing a report, learning a new skill, or building a project you care about. You open your laptop, and within minutes, your phone buzzes. An email pops up. A notification slides across your screen. A thought pops in. Did I reply to that message? Before you know it, 20 minutes have passed. You haven't really started. You feel busy, but you haven't moved the needle on what actually matters. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And that's exactly why Cal Newport wrote this book. Cal Newport is a computer science professor at Georgetown University. He's also someone who has published multiple best-selling books, earned a PhD from MIT, and built a successful career, all while famously not using social media. How? By mastering what he calls deep work. So, what is deep work? In simple words, deep work is when you focus completely on one important task, with zero distractions, pushing your brain to its limit. It's the kind of work that creates real value, helps you grow, and is hard to copy. The opposite? Shallow work. That's the stuff we do while distracted, answering routine emails, scrolling through updates, attending meetings that could have been an email. Shallow work feels productive, but it rarely creates anything new or meaningful. Here's the big idea of this book. In today's economy, the ability to do deep work is becoming incredibly valuable and incredibly rare. The people who can focus deeply will rise to the top. The people who stay distracted will get left behind. This summary will walk you through the entire book, chapter by chapter, in simple language with real-life examples. We'll cover why deep work matters, why it's so hard to do, and most importantly, the 4 practical rules you can use to start doing it today. Whether you're a student, a professional, a creator, or just someone who wants to get more out of your day. This is for you. If you want to read the full book, I've added a direct link in the description below. Let's begin. Part 1. The idea, Chapter 1. Deep work is valuable. Let's start with a simple question. Why should you care about deep work? Cal Newport begins with a story about the economy. He calls it the Great Restructuring. For decades, many people believed that if you got a college degree and learned a professional skill, you'd have a stable career. But today, that's changing fast. Why? 2 big forces: smart machines and globalization. Smart machines, like artificial intelligence and automation, are getting better at doing tasks that used to require humans. Routine analysis, data entry, even some creative work. At the same time, talented people from anywhere in the world can now compete for the same jobs online. So, what does this mean for you? Newport says that in this new economy, 3 types of people will thrive. First, high-skilled workers who can work well with intelligent machines. Think of a data scientist who uses AI tools to solve complex problems. The machine does the heavy lifting, but the human provides the strategy, the judgment, the creativity. Second, superstars in their field. When anyone can work with anyone, the best people get chosen. If you're the top 1% in your skill, companies and clients will find you, no matter where you live. Third, owners with capital. If you own a business, a product, or investment, you benefit directly from growth and innovation. Now, here's the connection to deep work. To become one of those high-skilled workers, or superstars, you need to do 2 things really well. Number 1. Master hard things quickly. Number 2. Produce work at an elite level, both in quality and speed. And guess what? Both of these require deep work. Let's break that down. When you want to learn something difficult, like coding, a new language, or advanced design, You can't do it while scrolling Instagram. Your brain needs focused, uninterrupted time to build new neural connections. Scientists call this myelination. Think of it like paving a road in your brain. The more you focus on one skill, the stronger and faster that mental pathway becomes. But if you keep switching tasks, the road never gets paved. You stay stuck. Newport shares the story of Jason Ben. Jason was a consultant who felt his skills were becoming outdated. So he decided to learn computer programming from zero to job ready in just 2 months. How? He locked himself in a room with no internet, no phone, no distractions. He studied 8 hours a day, deeply and deliberately. In 8 weeks, he went from knowing nothing to landing a developer job. That's the power of focused learning. Now, the second skill, producing at an elite level. Newport gives us a simple formula to understand this. High-quality work produced, time spent, times intensity of focus. Let that sink in. It's not just about how many hours you work. It's about how deeply you focus during those hours. Imagine 2 people writing a report. Person A works for 5 hours, but checks email every 10 minutes, switches tabs, and takes calls. Person B works for 2 hours, with phone off, notifications disabled, and full concentration on the task. Who produces better work? Almost always, it's person B. Why? Because of something called attention residue. Here's how it works. When you switch from task A to task B, your attention doesn't fully follow. Part of your mind is still thinking about the email you just read, the message you need to reply to, or the problem you left unsolved. That leftover mental clutter reduces your brain power for the new task. Research shows it can take over 20 minutes to fully refocus after an interruption. So, if you're constantly switching, you're never operating at full capacity. Newport shares the example of Adam Grant, a professor at Wharton and one of the world's top organizational psychologists. Grant has published groundbreaking research and best-selling books, all while being a devoted father and teacher. How? He batches his work. For months at a time, he focuses intensely on research, ignoring email and meetings. Then, he switches to teaching and mentoring. By protecting his deep work blocks, he produces elite-level output without burning out. Another example, J.K. Rowling. When she was finishing the last Harry Potter book, she checked into a luxury hotel in Edinburgh. Why? To escape distractions and focus completely. That's a grand gesture, a deliberate choice to create the conditions for deep work. So, the takeaway from Chapter 1 is clear. Deep work isn't just a nice-to-have. In today's economy, it's the key to staying valuable, growing your skills, and producing work that matters. If you can't go deep, you can't compete at the highest level. But here's the problem. Chapter 2. Deep work is rare. If deep work is so valuable, why doesn't everyone do it? Cal Newport's answer. Because our workplaces and our habits are designed to make it almost impossible. He starts with a concept he calls the metric black hole. In many jobs, it's hard to measure the true impact of your work. If you're a software engineer, a writer, a strategist, or a researcher, your best work often happens in quiet, focused moments that leave no visible trace. Meanwhile, shallow tasks, like replying to emails, attending meetings, or updating status reports, are easy to count. You can see how many emails you sent. You can track how many meetings you attended. So what happens? People start measuring the wrong things. Busyness becomes a proxy for productivity. If you're always on, always responding, always visible, you look productive, even if you're not creating much real value. Newport calls this the principle of least resistance. In the absence of clear feedback, we naturally choose the path of least effort. Checking email feels productive. Saying yes to every meeting feels helpful. Being constantly available feels responsible. But over time, these small choices add up to a work life filled with distraction and very little depth. He shares the story of a startup that switched to an open office plan to encourage collaboration. On paper, it sounded great, but in practice, employees couldn't focus. Every conversation, every movement, every notification pulled their attention away. Productivity dropped. Stress went up. The company thought they were fostering teamwork, but they were actually killing deep work. Another example, journalists. Many newsrooms now expect reporters to be active on social media, publish quick updates, and respond to comments in real time. The result? Less time for investigative reporting, the deep, careful work that produces award-winning stories. Newport isn't saying collaboration or communication are bad. He's saying when we optimize for constant connectivity, we accidentally optimize against deep thinking and. Here's the twist. Because so few people can do deep work today, those who can have a massive advantage. Think of it like this. If everyone is distracted, the person who can focus becomes a superhero. You can learn faster, solve harder problems, create better work. And in a world where attention is the scarcest resource, that ability is priceless. But there's one more reason to care about deep work. And it's not about money or career. Chapter 3. Deep work is meaningful so far. We've talked about deep work as an economic advantage, but Cal Newport argues there's a deeper reason to pursue it. It makes life more meaningful. He builds this case from 3 angles: neuroscience, psychology, and philosophy. First, the neuroscience argument. Newport cites the work of neuroscientist Winifred Gallagher, who studied how attention shapes our experience of life. Her finding is simple but powerful. You are what you pay attention to. Think about that. If you spend most of your day focused on trivial things, gossip, notifications, busy work, your brain learns that those things matter. Your sense of what's important gets distorted. But if you regularly focus on challenging, meaningful work, your brain starts to see the world through that lens. You feel more engaged, more purposeful, more alive. In other words, deep work doesn't just change what you produce. It changes how you experience life. Second, the psychology argument. Newport turns to the work of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the psychologist who coined the term flow. Flow is that state where you're so absorbed in an activity that time disappears. You're fully challenged, fully engaged, fully yourself. When does flow happen? Almost always during deep work, not while scrolling, not while multitasking, but when you're stretching your skills to meet a meaningful challenge. People in flow report higher levels of happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment. And the more you practice deep focus, the easier it becomes to enter flow. Third, the philosophy argument. Newport shares the stories of Rick Furrer, a master blacksmith. Furrer spends hours shaping metal by hand. There's no app for that, no shortcut, just skill, patience, and deep attention. When you watch him work, you see something almost sacred, a human being fully expressed through craft. Newport's point: you don't need to be a blacksmith to find meaning. You just need to bring that same depth to your own work. Whether you're writing code, teaching students, designing products, or building a business, when you do it with full focus and care, it becomes more than a job. It becomes a craft. And here's the beautiful part. This isn't reserved for artists or geniuses. Anyone can find meaning in depth. A teacher planning a lesson with care. A nurse listening fully to a patient. A parent helping a child with homework without checking their phone. These are all acts of deep work. Newport ends this chapter with a powerful idea. Human beings are not designed to be distracted. We flourish in depth. we wither in shallowness. So deep work isn't just about being more productive. It's about being more human. That wraps up part 1, the idea. We've seen that deep work is valuable, rare, and meaningful. Now, let's get practical. Part 2 is where Cal Newport gives us the 4 rules to actually make deep work happen in real life. Part 2, the rules. Begin Rule 1, work deeply. Here's the truth. Wanting to do deep work isn't enough. If you rely on willpower alone, you'll lose. Distraction is too easy. Temptation is too strong. So Rule 1 is this: don't just hope to work deeply. Build a system that makes deep work automatic. Newport starts by asking, what's your deep work philosophy? In other words, how will deep work fit into your actual life? He describes 4 approaches. The first is the monastic philosophy. This is for people who eliminate almost all shallow obligations. Think of a novelist who disappears for months to write, or a researcher who avoids email and meetings to focus on a breakthrough. It's powerful, but only works if your role allows extreme focus. The second is the bimodal philosophy. Here, you split your time into distinct modes. For example, you might go deep for 3 days a week, then handle meetings and admin the other 2. Carl Jung used this approach. He'd retreat to his stone tower in Bollingen to write, then return to his clinical practice in Zurich. This works if you have control over your schedule. The third, and most practical for most people, is the rhythmic philosophy. You do deep work at the same time every day. Maybe it's 6 to 8 a.m. before the world wakes up, or 8 to 10 p.m. after the kids are asleep. The key is consistency. Your brain learns. This time is for focus. No daily debate, no willpower drain, just routine. The fourth is the journalistic philosophy. This is for advanced practitioners. You slot deep work into any free moment that appears. Sounds flexible, but it's hard. You need to be able to drop into deep focus instantly, without warm-up. Newport says, don't start here. For most of us, rhythmic is the way to go. Pick a time. Protect it. Repeat. Next. Newport emphasizes rituals. Every deep work session should start the same way. Why? Because decisions drain mental energy. If you have to ask yourself, should I check email first? What should I work on? Is my phone off? You're using up focus before you even begin, so create a simple pre-work ritual. For example, put your phone in another room. Close all browser tabs except the one you need. Write down the single task for this session. Take 3 deep breaths. Start. Do this same sequence every time. Soon, your brain will associate these actions with focus. The ritual becomes a trigger. Newport also suggests keeping a scoreboard. Track your deep work hours in a notebook or app. Not hours at your desk, not hours logged in, but hours of genuine, distraction-free focus. Why? 2 reasons. First, honesty. When you see that Tuesday had only 30 minutes of real depth, you can't pretend you had a productive day. Second, motivation. Humans love streaks. When you see your deep work hours adding up, you'll want to keep the chain going. It becomes a game you play with yourself. Finally, Newport introduces the shutdown ritual. At the end of your workday, take 5 minutes to close the loop. Review what you did. Write down what's next. Say out loud, shutdown complete. This signals to your brain, work is over. Rest begins. Why does this matter? Because deep work is mentally demanding. Without clean recovery, you'll burn out. The shutdown ritual protects your energy for tomorrow's deep session. So rule Listress 1 in action. Choose a philosophy. Build rituals. Track your progress. End each day cleanly. Make deep work a habit, not a hope Rule 2. Embrace boredom Rule 2 might surprise you. It's not about what you do during deep work. It's about what you do between deep work sessions. Here's the problem. Most of us are addicted to distraction. Waiting in line? Pull out the phone. Walking to the car? Check notifications. Feeling a moment of boredom? Scroll, scroll, scroll. Newport's insight. Every time you reach for your phone to avoid boredom, you're training your brain to crave distraction. And a brain that can't tolerate boredom can't tolerate the discomfort of deep focus. Deep work isn't always fun. Sometimes it's hard, confusing, frustrating. If your default response to discomfort is to seek stimulation, you'll quit the moment it gets tough. So, rules 2 is this. Practice being bored. Train your attention muscle. How? First, schedule internet use. Instead of checking your phone whenever you feel like it, plan specific times for it. For example, I'll check email at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Outside those times, my phone stays away. This isn't about deprivation. It's about intention. You're teaching your brain. Distraction is a choice, not a reflex. Second, practice productive meditation. This means using physical activities, like walking, running, or commuting, to focus your mind on a single professional problem. For example, while walking to work, think only about how to structure your next presentation. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently bring it back. No phone, no podcast, just you and the problem. This does two things. It moves your work forward, and it trains your ability to sustain attention. Third, use Roosevelt dashes, named after Theodore Roosevelt, who was known for intense bursts of focus. Set a hard deadline for a deep task, shorter than you think you need. Then work with blistering intensity to finish. The time pressure forces you to eliminate distractions and focus completely. Newport also mentions memory training as a focus tool. Competitive memorizers practice holding complex information in their minds for long periods. You don't need to memorize a deck of cards, but learning a poem, a speech, or a new language can build the same attentional discipline, the key idea. Your ability to focus deeply isn't fixed. It's a skill you build, like a muscle, and you build it not just during deep work sessions, but in the small moments in between. So rule class 2, in action. Resist the urge to fill every idle moment with stimulation. Let yourself be bored. Use that space to train your focus. Over time, deep work will feel like a struggle and more like second nature. Rule 3. Quit social media. Now we come to Rule 3, and this one might feel a little controversial. Quit social media. But wait. Cal Newport isn't saying you must delete every account and live off the grid. His real point is more thoughtful. Don't use these tools by default. Choose them intentionally based on whether they truly serve your goals. Here's the problem. Most people use what Newport calls the any benefit mindset. That means, if a tool offers any possible benefit, I should use it. So we join Instagram because it might help us network. We scroll Twitter because we might miss news. We stay on TikTok because, well, it's fun sometimes. But Newport says this thinking is flawed. Just because a tool has some benefit doesn't mean it's worth the cost. And the cost of social media isn't just time. It's attention. It's focus. It's the mental space you need for deep work. Instead, Newport proposes a better approach. The craftsman's tool selection strategy. Think of a carpenter. Before buying a new tool, a craftsman asks, will this help me build better work? Does it serve my core mission? If the answer isn't a clear yes, they don't buy it. That to your digital life. Ask, does this platform directly support the things I value most? My deep work? My relationships? My growth? If not, let it go. But how do you decide, practically? Newport offers a simple test, the 30-day optional experiment. Here's how it works. For 30 days, stop using a social media platform completely. Don't announce it. Don't partially use it. Just step away. During that time, pay attention. Ask yourself 2 questions. 1. Would the last 30 days have been notably better if I had been using this service? 2. Did anyone care that I wasn't using it? After 30 days, review your answers. If the platform didn't meaningfully improve your life and no one missed you, then quitting isn't a loss. It's freedom. Newport shares the story of a young professional who tried this with Twitter. He expected to feel disconnected. Instead, he noticed something surprising. He had more mental energy. He read more books. He started a sides project he'd been postponing for years. And guess what? His career didn't suffer. In fact, his deeper work led to a promotion. Now, you might be thinking, but I need social media for my job. Newport hears you. And he's not against using these tools when they're essential. His point is, use them like a professional, not like a consumer. That means schedule specific times to post or engage. Use tools to block endless scrolling. Turn off notifications. Never let these platforms interrupt your deep work blocks. Treat them like a utility. Something you use with purpose, not a habit you fall into. Newport also addresses the fear of missing out, FOMO. He reminds us, missing out on trivial updates is not the same as missing out on a meaningful life. In fact, by stepping back from the noise, you create space for what truly matters: deep relationships, focused work, and personal growth. So, Rule Esches 3 isn't about deprivation. It's about intention. Ask yourself, what do I want my attention to build? Then choose tools that serve that vision, and let go of the rest. Rule 4. Drain the shallows. Rule Esches 4 is where we tie everything together. Drain the shallows. Remember, shallow work is the logistical, distracted, low cognitive demand stuff. Most emails, routine meetings, administrative tasks, quick replies. It's necessary, but it shouldn't dominate your day. Newport's warning: if you don't consciously limit shallow work, it will expand to fill all your time. It's like water. It finds every crack and fills every space. So, how do you take back control? First, schedule every minute of your day. Now, that sounds intense. But Newport doesn't mean you need a rigid, minute-by-minute plan that never changes. He means give every hour a job. Use a simple notebook or digital calendar. Block time for deep work. Block time for shallow tasks. Block time for breaks, meals, and buffer zones. Why does the 2 reasons? 1. It makes you aware of how you actually spend your time. You might think you're working deeply, but when you map your day, you see 30 minutes lost to email here, 20 minutes to distractions there. Awareness is the first step to change. 2. It protects your deep work. When you schedule it first, like a non-negotiable appointment, you're less likely to let shallow tasks push it aside. Newport suggests a simple system. At the start of each day, sketch your time blocks. Use pencil, not pen, because plans change. If something unexpected comes up, adjust the blocks. The goal isn't perfection. It's intentionality. Second, quantify the depth of every activity. Ask yourself, how long would it take to train a smart recent college graduate to do this task? If the answer is a few hours, it's probably. If it's months or years, it's likely deep. Use this insight to prioritize. Protect time for the high-depth activities. Batch or minimize the shallow ones. Third, set a shallow work budget. Decide in advance. How much of my day can I spend on shallow tasks? Maybe it's 30%. Maybe it's 1 hour. Whatever the number, stick to it. When your shallow time is up, stop. This forces you to be ruthless about what truly needs your attention. Newport also recommends the fixed schedule productivity method. Here's how it works. Set a firm end time for your workday. Say 5:30 p.m. Then work backward. If you only have until 5:30 to get everything done, you'll automatically prioritize deep work. Say no to unnecessary meetings and cut low-value tasks. It sounds limiting, but it's liberating. Constraints create clarity. Another powerful tactic. Become hard to reach. Most of us reply to every email instantly, creating an expectation of constant availability. But that trains people to interrupt you and trains your brain to expect distraction. Instead, try these strategies. Use sender filters. Only respond to emails that are clear, specific, and actionable. If someone writes, "Let's chat," reply with, "Happy to help. Could you share the specific question or goal so I can prepare?" Provide process clarity. In your email signature or auto reply, state your response policy. Example: I check email twice daily at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. For urgent matters, please call. Don't reply to emails that don't require a reply. Sometimes, silence is the most professional response. These aren't about being rude. They're about respecting your attention and teaching others to respect it too. Finally, Newport emphasizes the weekly review. Once a week, take 20 minutes to reflect. How much deep work did I do? Where did shallow work creep in? What can I adjust next week? This small habit keeps you aligned with your goals and prevents drift. So, Rule 4 in action. Schedule your time. Measure depth. Limit shallow work. Protect your focus. Review weekly. Make every hour count. We've reached the end of our journey through deep work. Let's pause and reflect on what we've learned. Cal Newport's message isn't complicated, but it's profound. In a world that rewards distraction, the ability to focus deeply is a superpower. Deep work is valuable. It helps you master hard skills, produce elite-level results, and stay relevant in a changing economy. Deep work is rare. Most people are trapped in a cycle of busyness and shallow tasks. By choosing depth, you gain a massive competitive edge. Deep work is meaningful. It connects you to your craft, your purpose, and your best self. It doesn't just make you more productive, it makes your life more fulfilling. And most importantly, deep work is a choice, not a talent, not a lucky circumstance. A daily practice you can build, step by step. Remember the 4 rules. 1. Work deeply. Don't rely on willpower. Build rituals. Choose a philosophy. Track your progress and shut down cleanly. 2. Embrace boredom. Train your attention muscle. Schedule internet use. Practice productive meditation. Let boredom strengthen your focus. 3. Quit social media by default. Use the craftsman's approach. Test tools with the 30-day experiment. Choose intention over habit. 4. Drain the shallows. Schedule every minute. Quantify depth. Set shallow budgets. Become hard to reach. Review weekly. Now, you don't have to implement all of this tomorrow. Start small. Maybe this week, you protect one 90-minute block for deep work. Phone off. Notifications disabled. Just you and your most important task. Maybe next week, you try the 30-day social media experiment with one app. Maybe you end each day with a 5-minute shutdown ritual. Small steps, consistently taken, create massive change over time. Newport ends the book with a quote from the philosopher Seneca. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Deep work is about not wasting your time. It's about investing your attention in what truly matters. It's about building a life of depth, purpose, and impact. So ask yourself today, what could I create, learn, or become if I gave my best focus to what matters most? The answer is waiting. Not in the next notification, not in the next scroll, but in the quiet, focused space you create for yourself. Go deep. Your best work and your best life is on the other side of distraction. Thank you for listening to this summary of Deep Work by Cal Newport. If this resonated with you, take one action today. Block 1 hour tomorrow for deep work. Protect it like your career depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Until next time, stay focused, stay deep, and keep building work that matters. If this summary helped you see the power of focused work, I'd love to have you join our community. Hit subscribe so you never miss a deep dive summary like this one. If you found value here, a quick like helps more people discover this content, and I truly read every comment. So drop a note below. What's one distraction you're ready to let go of this week? Your story might be the push someone else needs to go deep. Thank you for being here.